Hey YouTube, Ed here with Jack of All Trades. Welcome to another Jack of All Trades short. This short we are going to talk about a couple of upgrades I'm making to the Welder CUT-55DS plasma cutter that I have recently done a video on. So without further ado, since this is a short, let's locate the camera and let's talk about what I'm going to do here. Okay, you remember one of the things from the last video that I talked about was the fact that I don't like the way this air hose is set up. Unless you put a loop in it like this, it puts an awful lot of pressure on this fitting, and the fitting actually would leak. So you kind of had to have that loop in there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to change this and make it into something a little more durable and a little more sturdy. So basically, the first thing we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to take this old airline off. All right, now that the old airline is off, I'm going to show you the parts that I'm going to use. So I've got a brass 1/4 inch barbed nipple with a 1/4 inch male national pipe thread fitting on one end. That's going to take the place of this quick disconnect socket. And I've also got two of these 1/4 inch elbows, which they're nylon and they're barbed, and they should fit right into this hose. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put one here and one into there, and basically make this so that there's no pressure on the hose. And there you go. Much better than having that big loop on here. Nothing sticks out past the frame of the box with the exception of the connection for my air hose here. There's no stress on any of these fittings. They all just 90-degree angles. A much better process and operation altogether. All right, this next one's a little more involved, but I'll try to be quick so we can keep this as short. First thing, qualifying statement. If you don't have a good understanding of electricity or you are not comfortable with electrical wiring, do not do this. Second thing, I am not an electrician. I just know some things about electricity, but do not take my advice for it. Again, if you are not comfortable with this, get a competent electrician to do this step for you or to do this upgrade for you. Because what we are going to do is we are going to change this plug, but we have to have an understanding of electricity to do it. So I'm going to put a 220 plug on this cord. If your outlet is wired correctly, this side of the outlet, which has got the small slot, should be your hot wire. That should be where your electricity is coming from. This side over here, which has got the larger slot, should be your neutral wire, or some people call it the return. And this, of course, is your ground. Again, if your outlet is wired correctly, this should be the hot, this should be the neutral. That's important to know. So now you're asking, Ed, why is that important to know? And that is important to know because the Welder CUT-55 is a 110-220 volt compatible. It means it's a dual voltage machine. That means when this plug is plugged in, it's only drawing electricity from one side of the plug. So therefore, when it's plugged into 110, we need to know which prong is the prong that is actually using the power and which one is actually using the neutral. So if we were to plug this into the outlet, that means that this prong right here is the prong that should have the hot wire to it. This prong over here should be neutral, and that's important to know in just a second. So when you take the plug apart, this is the wire that should be accepting the hot side of a 110 outlet. It's the red wire, hot side, red wire. That's important to know, and we'll tell you why in just a second. All right, so now I have my plug removed. I know the red is the hot, the blue is the neutral because I looked at it. The blue is the neutral, at least on my machine it is. and the yellow wire with the green stripe is your ground. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a continuity check on this titanium welder plug. And this is the plug when it goes into the 110 outlet that will be accepting the hot wire. So I need to find out which of these terminals, and it's going to be one of these two, not this one, which of these two terminals is accepting the hot leg of the 110 outlet, which is this terminal. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put my lead on that terminal, push it in there. I get no continuity. I have continuity there. That means this, when this is plugged into a 110 outlet, this is going to be the hot side of the terminal. That means when I wire this plug, that the large pin has to be the red wire. I have to wire the red wire up to this large pin so that when I plug these together and I run off of a 110 outlet, I have the hot leg going to the right side of the welder, to the correct location in the welder. So let's go ahead and let's wire this one to the red, this one to the blue, and this one to the yellow and green. So now I've got my Yes welder wired up for 220 permanently, and I can use the adapter from my titanium welder to bring it down to 110, doing it just the opposite the way that Yes welder was doing it, yet still doing the same job as such. And if we plug it in and turn it on, if I did my job correctly, we shouldn't see any sparks. There we go. So there we go. In less than an hour's time, I did 3 major improvements on it. 1, I got rid of that quick disconnect air fitting on the side of the regulator dryer. 2, I got rid of that tension loop on here, which was all hanging out and had a possibility of snagging. And 3, I put a 220 plug-in on the cord instead of the 110 plug-in that Yes Welder had on there. That was just a dangerous situation to have a 110 plug on the machine and then have a 220 going down to a 110 plug so you could get your 220 power out of it. That's just a dangerous situation. Now I'm going to take that cord and I'm going to cut it and I'm going to throw it away because I just don't like that. So now I got a 220 on there. I'm going to use the converter for my titanium welder to convert it up or convert it down to 110, excuse me, and that way I can run 110. Now, final disclaimer, I'm not responsible for you swapping out plugs and frying your machine or hurting yourself. And if you aren't comfortable with wiring and electrical work, please have a competent electrician do it. With that, I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful. If you do like this channel and you like the content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you ding that notification bell so that you get notified of more upcoming videos. This is Ed with Jack of All Trades. Thank you for riding along, and we will see you on the next video.